Happy Saturday.
Bonjour. How's it going? You got them cans up in here?
Geordie Rick, nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you, Geordie Rick.
Alright, how are you staying, Alright?
No, I've been better, like, but hopefully we're getting there. Eh? How many woos have been getting released, Taylor, since the news has been broke?
Wooing in my sleep. Wake up, woo, going back to sleep, wake up, woo again. No, it's unreal, mate. It's going to happen, isn't it? So, definitely happening.
We haven't talked to you in a while about it. Obviously, we've talked about it. So, what were your thoughts when it first broke? Excited? Do you reckon it's definitely happening?
When it first broke, it was just like, is it January? Well, I think it was January, or I don't know when it was, but I just make Ashley in it. You think, he doesn't want to buy anyone, he doesn't want to day out, but then it's went on that long now and there's too much documentation. It's definitely happening. Don't know how excited they get, 'cause I'm absolutely buzzing. They're that rich, but you just hope they invest, which I can't imagine them buying when not. So, no, I'm fucking delighted, like, absolutely delighted. Can't wait. But until it happens, and once it happens, I'm literally locked out and out. I'm just getting the cans, like 100%.
Everyone thought it was going to be yesterday, didn't they? Everyone thought it was going to be by May. Probably by next Friday is what they're saying now before the bank holiday, but hopefully it goes through.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. To be fair, we've had 13 years we had one good season when we got the Europa League. And I enjoyed the championship seasons, but no one ever wants to be in the championship. But other than that, it's just been, I think we've had one good window or two. I thought the first window with McLaren, I was really excited, but obviously Wijnaldum, he's tremendous. Mitrovic wasn't quite what I thought, but everybody was fairly excited. Pardew, that Europa League season, Ryan Taylor scoring the goal against Everton, one of the best seasons I've had. But other than that, it's just, we'll just not buy anybody that we need and just not invest in the club and just let's try and get relegated. So I think we deserve it. I think 13 years of not even running a club, 13 years of really trying to just take everything from her, changing the club shop. Did he say they were selling Man United shorts on the website or something? Like, just shit,
sums up the year
like that. Changing the name to Sport, like, literally, he bought our club to make a profit, essentially. Like, that's, I try to keep his businesses going. We deserve all this money. So, as much as I've called Man City and I cannot wait to be a billionaire.
And Keg, talk me through the bonnet. What's going on, Freddie Youngberg?
Oh, I'm bringing back the Freddie, you know what I mean?
Aye.
I didn't really know what to say about it, to be honest.
Just get a bit bored during lockdown, eh?
Aye, quarantine boredom. Quarantine boredom. Honestly, mate, like, I wanted it to be like a light pastel pink. I got like a 2-in-1 box set thing. To get the desired colour, you're only meant to leave it on for 10 minutes. Yeah, I left it on for 35.
That kind of explains the pastel pink into a dark red.
Like, oh man, we did it late on Sunday night. I woke up on Monday morning. I was on an early shift at work. Like, it was fucking redder than me fucking jersey. It was like bright fucking red. Everyone at work was going, "Whoa, what the fuck have you been doing?" I was like, "It wasn't meant to be like this." I've been down the shower like every day, like fucking proper scrubbing it, trying to like let it die. It's like, it's only like a semi-permanent, so it'll not be like that for too long. But
what colour was it meant to be? A pastel what?
Pink.
Pastel pink. Is that not pastel pink then? Because I'm not really good with colours.
It's not quite pastel-y, but it's more pink than what it was. Like, it wasn't what it was. It wasn't what it was meant to be on Monday. I tell you, like, it was fucking redder than this, so it definitely wasn't what I wanted. But it was meant to be lighter than this. But it's alright. I'm getting used to it now. It's not too far off from what I wanted, but you know, it's alright.
The FIFA Road 2 Youngberg, look, mate. You rock it. Go for it. Right then, Taylor, Geordie Rick. Now that we've got you here, who's going to be the manager that leads Newcastle to the Premier League title?
So, it looks like, I don't know if they're going to win the Premier League title, but it looks like it's going to be Pochettino at the minute, from what we're hearing. I don't think it's wrong. It's weird for me. Like, I like him. He's never been backed with money. So I think if you look at the team he had at Southampton, I kind of list all the players, but I don't know if he had like Mane. He had so many good players in that team that he built from like not really much money. He went to Spurs, got the Champions League final, but he hasn't won anything as of yet. Does he just need the money to do it? So that's one. My ideal manager personally would be Simeone. I love Simeone. But I think he's the highest paid manager in the world at the minute. I don't know if that's, when you're that rich, I wouldn't expect Man City to get Guardiola, and they did. So I would love Simeone personally. I think he'd be absolutely perfect for the team. But I'm not going to complain if we get Pochettino. He's better than Bruce, let's face it. He's better than Joe Clare and that. So
well, that's
football will be really exciting as well.
The other day, the news broke, obviously, on Sky Sports as well, that Pochettino is the number one choice for the new owners. For me, I think he fits where we're at now perfectly. Simone or an Allegri would be a dream, but Pochettino to start the new era under the new owners. You look at the team he assembled at Southampton, man. He was the one that brought in Sadio Mane. He was Lallana. You had Lallana.
Did he get the centre back?
You had Klein. You had Wanyama. He got a great team going there. Picked off by, he was like climbing the ladder when he went the next stage. Spurs took Spurs to the Champions League final on a shoestring budget, man. Like some of the signs he's made there as well, like Heung-min Son, unbelievable player. So the next step would make sense for to bring Pochettino in, wouldn't it?
The football as well, mate. Like, if you look at the absolute showering shit football that we've watched every week, like I've never seen. Like, literally, the only team that plays worse football is Burnley, but they're more effective. Like, we play shit football, not even effective. Like, so if we get Pochettino, the football will be really exciting. That's one thing. Diego Simeone doesn't play exactly exciting football, where Pochettino will be like enjoying it every weekend. So could work out really well. He could just need that money and obviously become a winner. You know what I mean? So no, I'm not going to complain if we get him. Definitely not, man.
I think that's why people are probably choosing him over Rafa, aren't they? Because as much as we had the love affair with Rafa, and you want to see him come back and build the training ground up and everything that he had plans for. You think a new era with Pochettino and with more attractive attacking football in it, because some of the football in Rafa, let's be honest, was awful.
It was horrible, horrific football. He didn't really have to do with the players, but even when he had Liverpool, like they weren't like a really exciting team. Obviously, you'd have the odd bit of class from Gerrard and stuff, but they were very defensive orientated, built from the back. So he's never been an exciting manager. Where Pochettino, the football that Spurs played, unbelievable. The football Southampton played, to be fair, before Spurs was so exciting with players that you hadn't even heard of, really. Really, really good. I think, especially when new owners coming in, they're not just going to, if the day, I'll be happy, but I can't see them splashing 250 million each player because obviously fair play and stuff. So if they need to get the odd bargain in or scout a good player that would really night and get them playing crack football for, like, so it'll be decent, man. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Keg, your thoughts when Pochettino came out on Tuesday or Wednesday on Sky saying that he was going to be the next Newcastle manager?
Yeah, same as you. I think he's a good choice. I think he'd be a great manager. Obviously, he's got the credentials. He's still young. He hasn't won anything yet, but he's built teams like Southampton, built them from practically nothing to being a great team. Brought in great little bargains, players that you'd never heard of, like Mane, who's now world class, and did a great job at Tottenham. And you say like on a shoestring budget, like the season before last, they didn't sign anyone, did they? Because of all the money went into the stadium. So I think they tried to get, it was either Zaha or Grealish on deadline day, but it didn't work out. So they didn't make one single signing. But I'm sure that was still the season they went to the Champions League final, wasn't it?
Was
so
special that, not signing anyone. Like.
Yeah, so he can do great things with either average players, which is what we've got currently, and no budget. And if you give him a fucking unlimited budget, imagine what he could do. Like, he could work absolute wonders. So I think he'd be a great appointment. But I think if you build a short list of like your top 4 or 5, I don't think anyone would be a bad choice because of where we are now. Like, we are starting a new era. So I think who will get it doesn't really matter. I think whoever we get, it's going to be progression, whether it's Poch or Rafa or like Nagelsmann from Leipzig or the Ajax manager, Simeone, and anyone like that. I don't think there wouldn't be the wrong choice. Like, there might not be a first choice, but either one would be a great appointment for me. I'm not really that arsed, like particularly who it is, but I do think Poch would be the best one, really. Especially because he knows the English Premier League as well. He's been here. He's done it. A lot of people struggle to adapt. They don't understand the pace or the strength of the English Premier League, and he does. He's been here for years, managed 2 teams and done great jobs with them. So, yeah, Poch for me.
Could be worse. It could be Man City when they got the money and hired Mark Hughes. So, yeah.
Well, Mark Hughes was there, wasn't he? Mark Hughes was given 6 months and then sacked. So, the rumours is that Bruce is going to keep his job for the remainder of this season, whenever that is, starts and finishes.
Are they going to back him, though? Or how does the transfer window, I don't even really get it. Our transfer window is gone. This lockdown just threw me for a loop, like, proper threw me. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking there's a flaming transfer window before we're going back now, so there's a chance to get relegated if we keep Bruce, though. Like, as much as we look at the table, like, I'll get someone in fast, you know what I mean? But then you get Pochettino straight away and the team's that bad, we get relegated. You know, like, it's mental, man.
For me, I think you've got to keep Bruce. I think he's deserved his job. There's only 9 games left. Like, like the new manager can't sign anyone anyway. Like Brucey knows these teams. He's kind of nurtured them since the start of the season. Maybe not very well, but he's exceeded expectations. I think the least he deserves is to finish off this season. Like, what contract did he sign? Was he on a 3-year deal or something? Like, what's his contract?
I think it's 3 years, 3 years or 2 years.
So I think at the very minimum, like, he doesn't deserve sacked. Like, he hasn't done a bad job this season, so sacking him will be very, very harsh. Like right now, since the season's not even finished. So yeah, I would like to see him continue these last 9 games, and then once the season's over with, and we've got a transfer window, we can bring anyone in, like a Poch or a Rafa or someone, give him X amount of money, and then see what they can do.
He deserves the cup run as well. To be fair to Bruce, like, he's the first Newcastle manager in God knows when that has played the best team he can, and we've limped through like against Oxford and stuff. But he deserves it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, he deserves to have that cup run, because you never know what's going to happen to the cup, innit? So
imagine if
I'm saying, like, we're still in the
cup though.
You have to keep him
the same week.
You'd be good at it. You lose.
We've went on a Mint Cup run that we haven't had in 15 years. He's exceeded expectations in the Premier League, so I think sacking him now with 9 games to go, I think it would be very, very harsh on him, and I'd feel sorry for him. He doesn't deserve it. So yeah, keep him on for the short term, and then look longer term once this shit show's over with.
Right, we'll have a quick look at the short list for managers, like you said, Keg. So Pochettino is 10-11 favourite, clearly in front. Rafa to return is 6-1. There's meant to be a huge buyout clause there with Benitez, so whether there was or not, but Stavely is in love with Rafa. Then Allegri is third favourite at 11-1. I think it's too soon for Allegri. Allegri would be probably my number one choice, to be fair, but I wouldn't see him coming just yet. Like, and the one that's got that pace in the last few days is Jorge Jesus, the 65-year-old, currently managing Flamengo.
I've heard his name pop up. Like, I don't really know too much about him, but I don't know. Like, the Portuguese league can kind of sprout up these players like Mourinho and who was Mourinho? The one that went to the one that went to Chelsea.
Villas-Boas.
Yeah, so I'm not like, it could be a good shout, but I don't really know too much about them. Like, I don't think the Portuguese league's like as good as it was like back in the day, like back when like Benfica and Sporting Lisbon, and they were like top European teams. But now like that like Europa League teams are best, really, aren't they? Like they're not great.
I think that Jesus would be a bit of an underwhelming appointment, to be honest with you. I mean, he's had success in Portugal. It says, winning 3 league titles with Benfica, leading them to 2 Europa League finals, but not winning them. And then now he's in Brazil, winning everything with Flamengo. But what kind of yardstick do you put like that? Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. No, the thing is with Rafa as well. Like, it's weird. Like, we love Rafa, so if we did get him, I don't think people will complain. But if he ends up getting sacked, it's going to spoil sort of everything that we built up and we thought we'd. Obviously, I think in football though, I think as managers, I think they now you're probably going to end up getting sacked eventually. Most of the time, it just happens. You know what I mean? But it would be nice to see him finish the project as well. I would love Pochettino. I'd be excited by it, probably a bit more than Rafa. But if we got Rafa, I definitely wouldn't complain. I think he definitely cares about the club. So he is going to build the foundations and stuff. He might be the perfect choice, in theory, if he's going to build the foundations for somebody else to then come in. You get money, you know what I mean? So that could work out really well as well. So I don't know, but Pochettino or Rafa for me, it's got to be. Like, that
touches on what I said last week. Like, that was my point. Like, that's why I would like to see Rafa, but I wouldn't be blown away by it. But like you say, like, he's got the foundations to build the club, like as a franchise, more than just like what's on the field. So like, he wants to do all the things that we need to do. We've been a club neglected for 13 years. Like, our training facilities are outdated by 20, 30 years. The stadium's fallen apart. The academy's not really producing anyone great, other than the Longstaff brothers. So Rafa sees that, and he loves and cares for the club. So he wanted to do all that stuff before like Mike actually fucked him over, really. So I think him coming in with a huge budget, owners that'll give him what he wants to do, and allows him to build them foundations, and like gives us stepping stones, really. Then see what he can do, and give him a 3-year contract. If we haven't won anything, if we haven't really progressed on the field all that much in 3 years, then fair enough. Maybe look, elsewhere, but at least them foundations will be set and will be in good stead for a Poch or an Allegri or someone like that to come in, take over and take one to the next level.
Because Rafa is a household name. He will attract players. He has got respect of everyone. He's got a CV to match now, so...
That's the thing.
Yeah, he's won things. Yeah, he's won things. His football, like you say, it hasn't been great. Like sometimes he is too defensive. Even when he was winning Champions League with Liverpool, the football wasn't always pretty. But he's got a CV. He's won this, that, and the other in Europe and like across European leagues and Champions Leagues, Europa leagues. He's won everything that he can really. So his CV's pretty, and obviously, like you said, people know who he is. So players from abroad will want to come see, oh, Rafa Benitez is their manager. There must be a good team then. So it's attractive in it. Like when you see the manager, if you see Steve Bruce, they'll be like, who the fuck's Steve Bruce? I ain't getting the team managed by someone called Steve Bruce. But I like Rafa Benitez. Everyone around the world knows who he is and what he can do, his credentials and stuff. So that's a pro, really.
When we talk about new owners coming in, we talked about how when Man City got taken over, they had Mark Hughes first, and they went to Mancini. Ashley did it. Ashley had Aldice, didn't like him. Brought in Keegan, and fourth on the list is Kevin Keegan. The return of King Kev for the 49th time. 14-1.
No, not for me. Like, not as a manager. I think he's the football's past him. He's a bit of a dinosaur now, isn't he? I love him. But I would like to see him in like an ambassador role. I love Keegan, you know what I mean? But I think football's moved on in terms of, well, if you still managing other clubs, or at least, you know, but he hasn't. So I don't
he's not even been in the face of football. He's not even been in punditry or anything, has he?
That's the thing. I would love to see him in an ambassador role. He's got. I think it makes sense for the owners to bring him back because he gets the feel good factor. And there's got to be something he can do for the club. Obviously, he's got contacts in football. He knows the game at the end of the day. It would be class to see him back. I would love to see Shearer. I know it's a bit off the thing, but not as a manager.
This leads one perfectly into the next discussion, boys, which is director of football.
None. I fucking hate directors of football. Honestly, like I don't know. I suppose it probably works if you're hiring a manager to come in and they know the crack. So if you hire a manager, they're happy with it and they get on with it. But like, I don't know. It's just weird. They're picking players really. I watched
Pochettino didn't get a lot as he wanted at Spurs.
I watched the Salford documentary, and obviously it was different because it brought the director of football in after. But they were saying it's like they're sort of working against each other because the director of football thinks they need a midfielder, the manager thinks they need something else, and in theory they're meant to work together. But who takes the hit if signings don't work out? You know, sometimes it's dodgy. So I think you've got to make sure both parties, manager, director of football, are going to be able to work together. It's a tricky one. Works for some clubs, but I don't think Rafa would have that. Rafa wants to be in charge, you know, foundations and everything. So I don't think it would work with Rafa. Pochettino, it really depends. I don't know. I'm not in favour of them personally. I think it's a very foreign thing. That
actually is a director of football? Like, what is their job title? How is it any different? Like in chief exec?
Well, pretty much, if you watch the Salford documentary, like the latest season, they brought in the ex-Man United player who's mates with like Gary Neville and stuff. He literally looks at the team and he thinks, oh, we need a centre back. He'll scout a centre back, discuss it with the board. They'll sign that centre back. He's meant to discuss it with the managers, but if the manager's not happy with it, that doesn't mean he's still not going to sign that defender. That's mental. So it's sort of, but then it's weird because sometimes directors of football get sacked, and if that's literally they get judged on signings. But if you're judging the manager on that as well, it's a bit of a grey area for me. Like, so I'm not a fan, but a bit old school. But it could work. It's, you know, if it's worked abroad numbers of times, so you've just got to make sure you've got the right, obviously, people. But that's not.
Yeah, but how's that any different to a chief executive or a chief scout?
Just a fancy name, innit? You know what I mean?
I think the important thing for Newcastle is under this new ownership is to have people at the top who actually have a fucking clue about football. Because under Mike Ashley, we've never had that. We've had Derek Lambias, who never fucking Scooby. We had Lee Johnny now, the baldy bastard, just miss mate, need well and make fucking 20 grades. You know what I mean? Like, no one knows what they're doing. So it would be unreal to see a Keegan or a Shearer brought into like an ambassadorial role, whether that be director of football, whether that be something else. But it would be a quick way of getting fans on the side as well if they brought Shearer back or a Keegan back. But literally about half an hour ago, the Chronicle have said that Dabizas is in talks to be the director of football.
Doing well in that role, isn't he? Was it Panathinaikos or something? You know, obviously, we're not in the business in that sense. So, you know, if he's well known and obviously he's doing a really good job, I think that's going to work. If that's how the new owners want to structure the team, essentially they want a director of football, that's the way it's going to be. I suppose it's just like scouting a player or a manager. You choose the best one you can, or you think it's going to be the best one, and then, you know, hopefully it works at the end of the day. But yeah, it's not for me. It's a bit, I don't know, I play too much Championship Manager and I don't have a director of football. You know what I mean? But no, it could work, and I think obviously I'm not going to complain if it's Dabizas if he's already holding the role. I wouldn't like to see like not somebody who hasn't held a role like that before just get doing it.
At least Dabizas got like experience in it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how like they're meant to be like not running it from Newcastle on a day-to-day basis on the new owners and the new chairman and everyone lined up. I'm sure they're meant to be running the business from Saudi Arabia. They're not going to be involved in the club on a day-to-day basis based in Newcastle or even the UK, not even in London. So I think we need someone on a day-to-day basis to be at the club.
That'll be a chairman.
Running it. Yeah, like someone who's going to be here and present. So someone who knows the club and understands the club. Like say, like Dabizas, he's been here, he's been doing a great job in his country. Obviously, Shearer couldn't get anyone more who loves the club. But Keegan, I think, like he may be just a little bit outdated. Like he was great in the 90s. He was a good manager, but that doesn't really mean to say he'll be a great whatever it is, chief exec or director of football, whatever it is. I think like a lot of fans, like the ones that are chatting for this, are like living in the past a little bit, like wanting Rafa back and wanting Keegan back and stuff. Like times change quite quickly. Like from last time Kevin Keegan was manager, football's moved on a lot. So what makes you think he would come in and do a good job in any capacity? You know, he's got no credentials anymore.
The first thing they need to do is change the name Nines to Shearers.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not having that. Like that's the first thing I would do. Change Nines to
statue around to the front now instead of Shearers and be in the fucking bus stop.
Rip off that sports.
Can you imagine if you appointed Shearer though? Imagine if Shearer became the new director of football and he changes the name back to Shearers and moves his statue fucking right in fucking bang centre. That would be a great move. I fucking love that. Yeah. That would be class.
The best thing about it is it's exciting. How long has it been since we've been this excited? Even if you're just talking about what-ifs and stuff, like the amount of excitement we have. Normally, we're going to a transfer window thinking who's the next Sibierski. You know, like we're literally like Mbappe and Neymar. We'll have them all. Doesn't matter. Like,
are you concerned at all? Are you concerned at all that it's kind of gone quiet a little bit? Because this is what happened last summer with the Bin Zayed thing. Like it was all hot news. Everyone's talking about it. There's these forms and documents being leaked and stuff, which is exactly what's happened this time. But it's gone quiet last week or two. There's been absolutely no progression, no news at all.
And they've paid a deposit to Mike Ashley. You're not paying a deposit without taking out of the club.
But how do you know? Do you know that for a fact?
Sky Sports News reported it. Like, sure they did. So it was 17 million deposit. So,
you're not going to pay the deposit, but it still has to be like approved by like the Premier League and stuff. I think that's still what we're waiting on. Like it's I think it's taking a little bit long, like for my leg, and it's just gone a little bit too quiet for me. They've
had a lot of complaints and stuff, and I think the Premier League just want to make it look like, oh, we've looked into it. This is why it's getting approved. They want to just do it too hard. I honestly, like, I can't say this not going through now. Like, Staveley's wanted the club. Mike Ashley.
It would just be typical of Newcastle if it did, though. Like, I don't think it will either. But if it's going to happen to anyone, it'll be fucking us.
Well, I presume that the prices drop. I presume, I'm not too sure, I think, but because of everything that's going on in the economy and stuff. So Ashley's probably seen it as a good time to sell. The buyers have seen it a good time to buy. I think Mike Ashley is, like, I really dislike the way he's run the club, dislike the man. Even when he did a sports director about, oh, we'll stay open, we're essential business and stuff. Like, I think he's probably ideal for like a League 2, League 1 team. His own greed, because he'd want to back them to get them to the Premiership, and then he'd sell them for as much money as possible. He's ideal in that sense. When we won the Championship, he was a tremendous job. As soon as we got the Premiership, no, we didn't need anyone. Didn't need anyone for 3 years. No,
I know it's been. I don't know if it's been rumoured or just people just trying to make a joke about this, but they've been talking about him like buying Sunderland. I honestly think you'd do a fucking great job with Sunderland because you want to be back in the Premier League. You'll
tell them as soon as you'll
invest just that little bit to like boost them up and get them back in the Premier League and then sponge off them after that. So, like, I think Sunderland needs someone like Mike Ashley because he's got the ambition to be in the Premier League He's got no further ambition. He just wants to be 16th, 17th in the Premier League. That's his only ambition. But Sunderland, where they're on now, they fucking love that. So as long as they're back, you know.
Honestly, I was watching that Sunderland Die documentary, the Will Grigg fiasco. I've never seen anything like it. James like, knee further. Solid 3 million. There you go.
I'm not paying anyone 3 million.
I'm not paying $1 million. We're not paying $1 million. 800 grand max. Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, just give him 3 million. Give him 3 million.
Honestly, like the first 2 episodes, I was like, I quite like Stuart McDonald. Yeah, it's passionate, that, to be fair though, because he knew he couldn't run the club do a lot. It's really passionate, but you need to focus your passions on better players than Will Grigg. Simple as that. Like just because he's got a fancy song named after him, like, he's not even that good. Oh god.
A couple of questions from the YouTube members, and then we'll move on to a different video. Kurt sends in
ringing 60.
Would you like to see a new stadium built for Newcastle, possibly on Exhibition Park? Plenty of spaces around Newcastle. Could be bigger and better than Barcelona's ground with their training ground next door. So kind of like what Man City have done, really, like the Etihad campus where they've got training grounds and pitches and everything everywhere. Or do you stick to the St James Park and try and extend it?
I wouldn't complain if we're going to get a new stadium. I'm not going to complain. People would because of the history. But do we own the stadium? And that's a crazy thing. I thought do we rent the stadium or do we own it?
Do we own it? Yeah.
So
the confusion is behind in it. The confusion is where the strawberry and that is. Like, can we move it back?
Yeah, because I thought we rented certain bits, but I didn't know the logistics. But if you could extend the stadium, make it bigger, feasible. Obviously, the club, the owners have that much money. They're going to want to turn it into a bit of a brand like Man City. So a new stadium might work really well towards that. We're not going to complain. Fancy new stadium at the end of the day. But the history and stuff in St James's Park, you know, if we keep it and extend it, that would be great. But I do think we'd need to extend it if they're going to have higher ambitions. But I'm not going to complain. Loads of people would complain though. That would be a really big thing. They wouldn't be able to do that straight away.
It's the history in it, especially you're talking about the fans who've been coming for 30, 40, 50 years. The history of the club. Even Sunderland on the hill and all that stuff, like in the heart of the centre, like it's one of the most unique stadiums in the world, really, in it. So
that's the thing. It would be uproar initially, but I think that's the same at any club. Southampton, when they went to the Dell, West Ham, the atmosphere at West Ham Stadium used to be class. The stadium's a lot better, but the atmosphere is awful. Sunderland kicked off when they left Roker Park. The stadium it's a decent stadium, but they went mental. Like I think it's natural for people to kick off for change. So. I would definitely be for it. I wouldn't kick off, but people would. But they'd get over it. You know, when you're winning league titles and Champions Leagues and stuff. Okay.
Another thing would be, Lucas has said, I've not seen it mentioned anywhere whether we'll get new sponsors as gambling isn't allowed in Islam. Obviously, we've got the Fun 88 on the strips at the minute. Not just in terms of that though. Like Puma is up this summer, big money. Sponsors could be coming our way. Would you be asked if we could link it back to the stadium? Now, to be fair, like how the Tottenham are waiting for a big deal, you could have the Saudi Arabia arena. Would you be asked if it was named that? Would you be asked
if it was a new stadium? If it was a new stadium, that would be sound. I think you kind of call our stadium somewhere else now. That would be criminal. I think they've got to come in and do the right things PR-wise. Keep it St James's Park. Change names back to Shearer's, 100%.
I like you talk about history, like. It is St James's Park. Like I was uproar when it was changed to Sports Direct Arena at St James's Park. Like that was just fucking stupid. Like there's too much history in Newcastle to change the name. Like if they're gonna pump like billions in, then like maybe you can't really complain too much. But it is just history and tradition. And like you can't really break tradition like that. Like coming in and making too big a change. Like it's kind of disgruntled some people. It doesn't matter how much money that you put in and make the team great. Like. People are still going to be knocked about it, innit? I wouldn't like to say the name changed. But, yeah.
Look at Salford. They were literally lower than the conference. People are booting off because they've obviously extended the stadium, they've moved train, they're going up the leagues every year and they're kicking off. They changed our club. What do you mean they changed our club?
How dare we get the league too?
So if they're going to kick off, I'm pretty sure teams in the Premiership are going to kick off. Like fans.
It happened with Man City with their owners. They put Etihad everywhere, didn't they? Etihad in the middle of the shirts. The Etihad Stadium went from the City Manchester Stadium, whatever it used to be before that. But are them fans complaining now that we're mid-table club and are now winning the Premier League every year?
To be fair though, with Man City, like he's winning the league, he's in the Champions League, and he's have like nobody turns up to Champions League nights. Imagine the two. Like it's gonna be the worst. It was packed for Oxford. You know what I mean? Packed for Oxford in the FA Cup.
0-0.
0-0. Exciting match. nail
I
biting.
can't imagine this happening with Newcastle fans. Like, for me, I think City fans got complacent. Like, they were worse off than what we were now. And, like, they've just had, like, 10 years of success. Like, they still haven't won a Champions League, but at least they've been competing. They've got a handful of Premier League trophies, a handful of FA Cups and Carabao Cups and all this. So, like, you see them, like the season before, like, they were in the Champions League and they were winning, like, 5-0 and that. But even after the first goal went in, the fans were just like... Like, can you imagine if that was us in the Champions League? It doesn't even matter who we were playing, even in the Europa League or the Carabao Cup. We got fucking ballistic after every single goal. If it was a Champions League, if it was like Ajax, Juventus, someone like that, we'd be jumping on each other's heads, fucking going absolutely apeshit. And it doesn't matter if it's now, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. I don't think that complacency would ever come in with us. I think we're too passionate. I don't think that would ever die out.
We haven't. It sounds up, but we haven't got much else in the north, really, in terms of more southern teams. I know Manchester's sort of the north, but there's Man United or Man City. Like, for Newcastle, it's like a one-club city. So everybody from Newcastle just wants to watch the football. That's all I want to do. That's not going to change. You know what I mean? Like, be unbelievable, man. I cannot wait. I remember my first ever game was against Troyes when we drew 4-4. Kid next to us, I was with 8. Oh, it was awful. We got knocked out, but we drew 4-4. It was unreal. But the guy next to us, I was about 8, 9 years old, maybe 10. Honestly, who scored that 4th? The guy picked us up, spun us around. I was nearly crying because I thought he was going to lob us down. But it was like, it was literally one of the best feelings I've had. Watching everybody go mental, and that's a 4-4 draw against Troyes. You know what I mean? Like,
the best things, man, are away days in a cave where we just jumping around with Van and we're just strangers and everyone's just fucking kissing each other on the forehead and that and just going ballistic because we've took the lead at Old Trafford and then getting slapped.
On Boxing Day. Old Trafford on Boxing Day, that was a bald bloke in front of me, just grabbed him, fucking kissed him straight on his bald bonds. So I was like, get on that, you can.
You'll just fucking tell you like, yeah. And then like 10 minutes later, like, Harry Kev, see you later, man.
I don't think like the atmosphere is like that. Like the Etihad, like I just think they just got too complacent. Like when the score goes in the Champions League, there's no fucking atmosphere. It's like no one cares. Like from a team from where you come from, like worse than off what we are now. They were a bit of a yo-yo team, like in like the 90s and early 2000s and that. Like, and to where they are now, they just don't really. It's like we're the best team in England. Like, so what? Like. I think that's a fucking shit attitude there. Like, I remember seeing that clip. I think I seen it on Twitter. It was last year. I think it was like quarter-final. They scored the first goal. Like, the fans, that was just fucking the atmosphere. I was like, that fucking pissed me off. I was raging with that. I just thought, like, you don't understand, like, how great a position that you're in. And now that we could be in that position, I just think, like, in 10 years' time, would we just start thinking, well, we're the fucking best team in England, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we would.
I don't think we would, nah.
No, it's too much for us. It's massive. Okay, like, you can see there's decent fans at different clubs who are literally... Look, we're still... You see the amount of people still going to watch it under Mike Ashley. When people's trying to not go, you just can't help yourself. You literally can't help yourself. So what's going to happen when we're literally in Europe and stuff? We're not going to we're not going this. Like,
people know this and all, like, around the country, like, even when the Championship would sell out home and away end every week. Away ends, away to fucking Scunthorpe and that would be packing out, like, away ends. Like, and I, like, even, like, this season where we've been trying to boycott, like, we don't want to go for the right reasons, but still, like, it's like an addiction, you can't help yourself. Like, you want to be there.
Right then, boys, that'll do.
See you tomorrow.
Just watch
you score until you score.
Enjoy.
Send